The first thing you need to do is create 3 different bank accounts, one for your spending money, one for your investment money, and one for your savings money. And the reason why you want these in different bank accounts is so you don't get tempted to accidentally spend your investment money or your savings money, because when you keep it all in one account, you might be the best bookkeeper in the world and you say, I know $1,000 is for investments and $500 is for savings. But when you go to the store and you see the sale on the TV, it's very easy to think, oh, I got $3,000 in my bank account, I can spend $2,500 on this TV, and now you accidentally just spent your investment money and your savings money. So go out and create 3 different bank accounts. But this is where you have to also do number 2, systemize your money. This way, anytime you get paid, you always have money to save, you always have money to invest, and then you spend whatever's left. Let me show you. Now that you have 3 bank accounts, you might say, all right, I'll go live my life, pay for my expenses, and then when I have some extra money, I'll put some of that money into this investment account and I'll put some of that money into the savings account. But that's the way to be broke. The way you build wealth is by thinking like a wealthy person, and what every wealthy person does is they give their money a job before that money hits their bank account. You need to know how much money you're going to save, how much money you're going to invest, and how much money you can spend before you actually earn that money, and you want to systemize that process. A simple way to do this is to follow something like my 75-15-10 plan, which says for every dollar that you earn from here on out, whether you earn $100 or $10,000, you take 10 cents of every dollar that you earn and you put the money aside for your savings. You take 15 cents of every dollar that you earn and you put that aside to invest, and then you live off of 3/4 of every dollar that you earn, and that's the money that you spend. Now you might say, well, Jaspreet, that's going to be hard. I'm already struggling living with all of my money going out to my expenses. I never said this is going to be easy. If you want to become wealthy, you have to put money aside to invest, period. If you want to have savings, you can't spend all of your money, period. Your savings are here to protect you against an emergency. This is how you become wealthy. You have to live below your means if you want to have a chance to become wealthy, and this is what wealthy people are focusing on. And this is a system that you can follow. You don't have to start with 75-15-10. Start somewhere and work your way up so you have more money going aside towards your investments and towards your savings. That way now every time you get paid, some money is spent, some money is invested, and some money is saved. Once you have 3 different bank accounts and you build a system so you know how much money to spend, invest, and save, now it's time for number 3, automate the process. I've been teaching financial education for a long time, and what I can tell you is that humans make mistakes. And I can tell you this from experience because I have made more mistakes than most people that I have met. And if you rely on yourself to go into your bank account and deposit money into your investment account and savings account, you will make a mistake at some point. You will forget to do it, you will not save enough money, you might not invest enough money one time, and this is where you can automate the process. Most banks will allow you to do this for free. If your bank is charging you money to do this, get a different bank. So now, here's what you do. Money hits your checkings account when you get paid. You get direct deposit, or you take a check, you deposit here. Then you create an automatic withdrawal from this account into here and into here. If you know how much money you're making every single month, or every 2 weeks, or every week, well, now you create an automatic withdrawal, so money automatically gets put into your investment account and money gets automatically put into your savings account. That way you don't have to worry about human error. And now you've taken the first step, actually the first 3 steps to become wealthy, because now you have 3 different bank accounts. You've created a system so you know how much money to save, invest, and spend, and now you've automated the process. But let's talk about how you actually make this foolproof and how you can optimize the process. That way you can get to that wealth even faster. Now I want to remind you of this. For those of you that are investors or want to become investors, my team at Briefs Media publishes a free daily newsletter called Market Briefs, where we break down what's happening in things like the economy, the stock market, the housing market, crypto, and the global economy into a fun and witty and easy to read newsletter. We have hundreds of thousands of investors that are reading Market Briefs every day. Plus, when you join Market Briefs, you'll also get our investing masterclass free as a bonus just for joining. So if you want to get Market Briefs, our free newsletter, and our investing masterclass for free, all you have to do is click the link down in the description below. Let's start by talking about how you can optimize your spending. What I used to tell people is if you walk into Macy's and you see a sweater that you really like, before you buy it, give yourself 24 hours. But nowadays, it doesn't feel like many people go into Macy's, so let's say this. You're on TikTok and you see this amazing guacamole maker that you have to have, and it's only on sale for a limited period of time. But before you go out and you make that impulse purchase, what I want you to do is follow the 24-hour rule. When it's not something you need, it's this impulse purchase. You find something that you think you're gonna love, give yourself 24 hours. You're not saying no, you're not saying yes, just give yourself 24 hours to think about it. and digest it. And if you wake up tomorrow and you still really want the guacamole maker, well now, as long as you can afford it, you're giving yourself permission to buy it. This will allow you to stop impulse buying all those things that you don't need just because every time you go on TikTok, every time you go on YouTube, every time you go on Amazon, you start to get bombarded with these ads of amazing products that you didn't even know that you needed. The second way you can optimize your spending is understanding the difference between a need and a want. You need a car to get to work. You just want a BMW. You need a home to live in. You just want the brand new townhouse. You need some food to eat. You just want the organic blueberries. When you're trying to get your money right and you're spending right, you have to be able to tell the difference between a need and a want, because you gotta stop spending so much money on your wants and focus more on spending money on needs. That way you have some extra money to invest and save. But that's gonna require you to really look in the mirror and understand what do you need and what do you want, and be honest with yourself. Is there something that you can cut back on? And my goal isn't for you to live small for the rest of your life. My goal is for you to make some sacrifice for a period of your life. That way you can enjoy the rest of your life without having to worry about money. But the only way you can do that is now you start to understand the difference between an asset and a liability. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Your car is a liability. Your clothes are a liability. Your house is a liability. All these things are liabilities. Yes, your house, I call it a liability, even though most people will say it is an asset, because your house is a money pit until you ultimately sell it, and you have to hope that you can sell it for a profit. If you sell it for a profit, sure, it can be an asset, but for most of the time, it's a liability until you sell it and hopefully you can sell it for a profit. But a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. An asset is something that you buy for the sole purpose of putting money in your pocket. So when I go and I buy a rental property, that is an asset because I'm buying it to make cash flow for me every single month. When I buy stocks, I buy them to put money in my pocket. I buy them either so I get dividend income every 3 months, or so I can sell the stock for a profit. When I invest in a startup, I'm buying it as an asset so I can hopefully make money on a startup. When I'm buying physical gold, I'm buying it as an asset. When I buy cryptocurrency, I'm buying it as an asset. When I invest in my own self, my own business, that to me is an asset because I'm investing in my business. That way I can make more money. And so the reason why I want you to understand this is so you can focus less on the liabilities and focus harder on the assets, because what wealthy people want is more assets. What broke people have are more liabilities. And most people think and make the excuse that the reason why I don't have assets is because I don't make enough money. Well, it doesn't matter if you make $20,000 a year or $200,000 a year. What we've seen is that most Americans, even six-figure earners, only have liabilities with no assets. I want you to change the game and start building wealth for yourself. That way you stop spending so much money on liabilities so you can own more assets, because those liabilities, your BMW, your Gucci, that fancy lifestyle is making all those companies rich, but it keeps you broke. And I want you to work hard to make yourself rich instead of just working hard to make BMW rich, instead of just working hard to make your bank rich, instead of just working hard to make Amazon rich. I want you to make yourself rich first by owning the asset, not the liabilities. Then the fourth way to optimize your spending is to understand my rule of 5. My rule of 5 when it comes to luxuries, things that you don't need, or if you cannot buy 5 of them, you cannot afford 1 of them. You want to buy the $1,000 Gucci scarf? Great. If you don't have $5,000 to buy the $1,000 Gucci scarf, you can't afford it. And the fifth way to optimize your spending is no more financing liabilities. If it doesn't put money in your pocket, do not finance it. I was just talking to one of my employees about this, who was telling me how his life has changed now that he no longer has a car payment. He grew up without financial education. Didn't grow up learning about money, didn't grow up learning about investing, that was just a normal thing. And now that he doesn't have a car payment, it feels like a huge weight is lifted over his chest and his body, because we all think that you have to have a car payment. We all think that you have to have these credit card payments because it's normal. But the reality is it doesn't have to be that way, and that should not be your normal. If it doesn't put money in your pocket, do not finance it, the only exception being your house. Yes, I would prefer it if you bought your car with cash and didn't have to worry about a car payment. Yes, that means you'll probably have to buy a cheaper car. Yes, that probably means that you won't be able to buy the same BMW that you wanted. You might have to downgrade to Toyota for a little while. But when you do that, you can invest the difference, and now your investments will be able to buy you the BMW, to buy you the Mercedes, to buy you whatever car you want in the future without having to worry about the price. That's what I want for you. And this also applies to 0% APR financing. When you go and you buy the iPhone for $1,000, they know that if you buy it with 0% APR financing, not only are you more likely to buy it, because it's a lot more painful to see $1,000 leave your bank account, but you'll also probably buy more stuff because you don't have to pay them $1,000 of your bank account, And if you don't pay it off in time, now you get slapped with a very high and very expensive interest rate. Because there's no reason why companies would just lend you money for free unless they weren't making money off the back end. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.